Hey guys, welcome. How can MLK Day solve your main problem? This is an important day and it's obviously a holiday in the US, but it's not a holiday here where I am in India. But MLK Day can solve your problems wherever you are in the entire world. I promise you. Here are the top challenges that most people face. Number 1, health problems. Number 2, workplace challenges. Number 3, emptiness and loneliness. 4, failure. 5, money problems. Number 6, career pressure. And last but not least, number 7, unfair treatment. If you have one or more of these problems, you might be able to learn from Dr. King and get a solution today in this video. You may be thinking, what does the MLK Day have to do with this? Trust me, you would love this solution. So let's analyze the life of Dr. King. Martin Luther King was a prodigy. He was very sharp as well. Actually, at the age of 15, he started going to college. He was so sharp, he won the Nobel Prize as well. He was a true leader, he was charismatic. Martin Luther King was very skilled. He actually spoke a lot of languages, including Greek, Latin, and Hebrew. He really had a huge impact on so many lives. I really liked him because he stands for some really amazing things. One of those things is nonviolence. Martin Luther King was a super inspiring figure. He was the one behind the civil rights movement, and he's the reason behind getting all these rights for the African American people. The speech that he gave, that was "I Have a Dream," was just such a wonderful speech.
I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation.
What's special about this speech is that he worked really hard on that speech, but he kept working till the last minute. So this is a learning that a lot of people, when they may have a speech, they would say, okay, well, it's a good idea to just sleep early. But he actually, contrary to the conventional wisdom, continued to work and stay up till late at night, till 3 a.m. And then the next day when he arrived, he was still working on the speech. He was still continuing to work on the speech when he was standing in line before he got on the stage. And then finally, when he was standing there, he came up with this "I have a dream." And that's when he just scribbled it. And finally, when he gave that speech,
I have a dream that one day
he was able to inspire so many people, and that's really special about him. So we can learn to never give up. Keep working on what matters to you till the last minute. You may get some ideas at the very last minute. I got an opportunity to visit Memphis and also the museum.
Hey guys, so this is Arvind here at the National Civil Rights Museum. This is the entrance of the museum. It's a nice 1.5 to 2 hour that you're gonna need. Behind me, that room 306 is the actual room there where that Martin Luther King was shot. And the shots actually came all the way from over there. That's where the shots came from the bathroom of that window. And that was like a straight shot, and boom, at 6:01 p.m. that's what happened. So this was one of the hotels that was really used for all of the black community. These 2 cars were standing when this actual event happened. Another thing to focus on is the sign. That's from back in the day. So you can see the sign and it says, "I have a dream, MLK." Pretty important historic site.
So this museum, the Civil Rights Museum in Memphis, is an important place because it has a lot of different stories that were happening all over America.
So this is the room, kind of where Martin Luther King was staying and shot at this hotel, Lorento Hotel, that's been converted to this whole museum. That was the actual room where Martin Luther King was on the day when he was shot at 6:01. There is that wreath. That is the exact spot where he was shot.
They have tried to capture that, like there's a bus, because there was segregation in bus. So the rule back then was that if there was an African American who was sitting in the bus and a white person comes in, then they would actually have to leave their seat for making space for that white person, which is ridiculous. And that's why Martin Luther King did movement where he used boycott, and then none of the African American people would then take the bus, and that really made a huge impact in Montgomery, Alabama.
I'm getting in there, and it's been preserved for a very long time.
Please move to the back of the bus.
This is how the driver used to say.
I need that seat now. Please move back.
Let's see.
If you can sit there in other buses, suppose you get off and into one of them. If you don't move out of that seat, I'll have you arrested. Get up from there.
In 1955, if you had not moved by this point, you would be arrested.
So as it says, if you did not move to the back of the bus, you would be arrested. So pretty bad situation for the black community, obviously. They had to walk many, many miles here.
Also, then there was a movement that he started in Memphis where all of the sanitation workers went on a strike, and this is also depicted in the museum.
So you can see that this area is for all of the strikes that were happening here. So this is people protesting that I am a man, because they were paid very minimal amount. So in about 1968, there were a lot of strikes that were happening by the sanitary workers. This is the actual garbage truck. It's been preserved from back in the day. So on average, a sanitation worker would really only get paid a very minimal amount, that they would get paid for about 90 hours of work, about $137.13 after taxes. They had no sick days. They did not get paid for any extra hours. They had no breaks, and they were working in some life-threatening conditions. So pretty bad, and this is the area that depicts the plight of their condition.
Gandhi was another figure who had inspired Martin Luther King. What's very similar about Martin Luther King and some of the other leaders that I also admire is that they were all very forgiving. And one thing that Martin Luther King did, unlike common people like us, is that even though there was a lot of hate coming from different communities for the African American people, he thought that he would get a solution was by spreading love, even love for people who were discriminating. It's very similar to how Mahatma Gandhi had this conviction that if we just continue to believe in non-violence, then the Britishers would eventually leave, and Britishers would actually realize, looking at the pain that it was causing for all of the people in India. If you look at Nelson Mandela, it was also very similar, because Nelson Mandela was in prison for like 27 years, and when he came out, he said, you know what, it's okay, I forgive them, which was really, really huge. And that's why this is like a common theme in all these world-changing leaders, that they would counter the hate by spreading love. One of the famous quotes that he gave was that darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. He advocated some of the very peaceful protests for some very, very big problems that our nation was facing. So here's the answer that we've been waiting for. How can MLK Day solve your main problems? If you notice from all this information that was shared so far, his life was all about being of service to others. He knew one very important thing: act of service. If in life you have a big problem and you're stuck and cannot find a solution, then if you go ahead and find someone who has the same problem and help them solve that problem, you'll see that you would automatically get what you want. This is a day of national service. In our technology world, if you want to be a good leader or a servant leader, the true metric of your success would be how much your team grows. I wish you a very happy and safe MLK Day. Until next time, goodbye.